I'm going to teach them the 7 foundations of health. And with those 7 foundations, I'm going to create with my customers a very custom, what I call power routine. It's maybe a 5, 10, maximum 15-minute routine that you do every day that you can count on each and every day. That's going to get you to that ultimate health, biohacking health, reversing your biological age, sharp mind, always focused, always delivering and producing. So that's kind of the goal, is create everybody's own power routine that they can count on.
All right, biohacking. What is it? How can you get better? How you can improve your performance? That's what we're going to talk about on today's show. Today, I have to have Dr. Mike Van Thielen, PhD, and I'm going to give you a little background. So today, a lot of times we talk about financial performance, but your number one asset is you. Okay. And so we've got to make sure that you're operating on all cylinders. And so we're going to talk about the biohacking code. And so let me give a little background. This is how we met. So I met Mike at Dr. Mike. I'm going to call you Dr. Mike. I'm going to give you your level of respect. Where were we at? The Millionaire Mingle in Scottsdale a few weeks ago. And he was hanging out and we got to talking, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating, because I played basketball I played basketball in college, right? So but I'm that nerdy kid that from like middle school, I'm reading books on sports nutrition, how to work out better, what are athletes eating, how do they work out, what are their drills. So I'm that kid, So I was like a cool nerd, right? An undercover nerd. So let me tell you about Dr. Mike before we get into this. So he's a PhD in holistic nutrition. He's a physician, he's a mentor, he's a biohacking expert, he's a best-selling author, TEDx speaker, international keynote motivational speaker. He's been featured on the cover of Biohackers magazine. He's a licensed physical therapist, acupuncture physician, a doctor of Oriental. I wouldn't have time for all this stuff. Oriental medicine, with certification in molecular hydrogen injectional therapy, homeopathy, Chinese herbal medicine, non-invasive cosmetic procedures, and a PhD in holistic nutrition from the College of Natural Health. And but let me add on to that. Besides being well versed in that, he also holds business and marketing certification. So I want you to know where this stuff is coming from, because he's the whole package. You can put all this stuff together, and he's a proven track record of establishing, developing successful business operations, and has led to a corporate impact program. Currently contracts with corporations to improve culture, significantly increase employee engagement, focus, production, right, while upgrading their mind and body. And he's featured in the book Motivational Speakers America. And Mike, I'm that's a lot, okay? And we could keep going for another 5 minutes, but welcome to the show, Dr. Mike. Tell him what I didn't tell him that you want to know.
Well, thanks for having me, Curtis. Well, yeah, it looks like a lot, but man, I'm 53 years old, so I had time to accomplish all that. No, in life, it's about getting to that next level. Mm-hmm. And, your listeners may hear an accent. I'm originally from Belgium. Grew up with my brother and a single mom. It wasn't always easy. She had to work hard to provide for us. So we kind of were forced, me and my brother, to if we wanted to have something, we had to work for it ourselves. So the entrepreneurship always has been there a little bit. So I had my grandmother drop me off at the flea market and sell the stuff that I found up on her attic, right? But at the same time, I've always been very competitive. I was, in elementary school, I was the fastest runner on the basketball team, soccer team. But a good friend of mine beat me in swimming because he was part of the local swim team. And I don't recall the story, but the next morning, according to my mother, I found the solution to that. I joined the swim team myself, and that's where I found my passion for swimming. But long story short, from a young age on, I had to kind of be a little bit of an entrepreneur, and at the same time, be competitive. And so the problem is during my teenage years and also my young adolescent years, because I came here when I was 26. I saved $400, packed the backpack, put my jeans on, and I came live the American dream. But needless to say, without a coach and a mentor, I got knocked down many times. And so my motto quickly became, I never lose, I win or learn, right? Because we're all focused on failures, and those are not failures, those are lessons. And then you have to try it again with a little bit more insight. And eventually, just like Edison or Michael Jordan, you're going to be the best at what you do. So I think that's kind of a mindset that business people need to have, right? It's not about failures, it's about learning. But today I'm a mentor, and I took a long time to get where I am because I didn't have a mentor. So for me, it's like helping people point out the pitfalls and put them on a fast track, not only in their business, because it's about purpose, it's about planning, it's about having the right people around you and doing the right things, even things that as a human, we don't like to say no, right? But as a business person, many times we need to. So we don't like to fire people, but as a good business person, we need to let those people go,
right,
if they don't further our purpose. So we help there. But the key, Curtis, is that what I found over the years is that a lot of successful entrepreneurs, successful professionals, they know how to upgrade their business. They know how to upgrade their house. They know how to upgrade their car. But most of the time, they forget to upgrade the most important thing, themselves,
that's
right?
right.
And so most of those successful leaders, they don't have a mentor, and they don't realize they could use one too to get to that next level, to be more effective, to be more proficient. And as you said in your introduction, what are you going to do without your health? What are you going to do without being superhuman? Because that's what we all need to become. And today, in today's society, we actually have the technologies and the strategies to accomplish that. Not just the elite, but the average person can accomplish that.
That's fascinating. I think that I've always thought about this. So when you were talking, like I always tell people my three favorites, and it's a three-way tie. So I'm in the financial business, but my it's a three-way tie between, because I can talk about each of these three topics: wellness and health, and marketing and business development. Like, to me, they're all like a three-way tie of my favorite topics. And maybe then the second one is like economics and history, right? Which is basically the same subject. But you can kind of connect the dots through all of them. But I think that for the purposes of this, because one of the things that we talk about, if you always tell our clients that your number one asset is you. So you have to invest in your mindset, your skill set, and your network mindset, what you watch, who you hang around, what you think about. But somewhere in there is, okay, am I eating right? Am I working out? Because that gives you more energy, more clarity, more whatever. So and tell me where you want to go with this, but what is the biohacking code? What is biohacking?
Yeah, no, and you're 100% right, because you're talking about the fable of the goose and the golden eggs, right? You got to maintain the goose. We are the production capacity, so we
Yes.
got to take care of ourselves, or we can't keep producing. It's that
Right.
simple, right?
That's right.
But biohacking is a very amorphous term. There's many definitions out there. Mine's very simple. Biohacking is upgrading the body, the mind, and life. And from a health point of view, it's objectively reversing our biological age. Because as you know, Curtis, we all have a date of birth and we all have a chronological age. But if we stand still and think about it for just a second, we know that's a useless number, because we all know that person that is 60, 65 in and out of the hospital and probably is about to die.
Right.
We also know the 90-year-old that is out playing 18 holes of golf and is 100% witty and 100% okay with their mind. So chronological age does mean nothing, really. It's our biological age. It's how our mitochondria and the cells, how old are they? How do we feel? What's the quality of our life? And today, I truly believe, without any doubt, that all of us easily can be 100 years chronologically, but at age 100, do the things that a 40, 50-year-old can do today. So yes, play golf. Yes, go on vacation, enjoy the grandkids, grow up, and those types of things. And that's truly possible if we implement these 21st century innovative biohacking strategies.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, because I see that. One of the things that I will do is I used to pick out people like 10 years older than me, celebrities that I thought were in good shape. I was okay. Then I work backwards. Like, what do they do? What do I have to do today to show up as that person 10 years from now? And what should I be eating? Which is my number one problem in nutrition, you know. And because I'll work out, but I still eat like crap. So I need to like fix that part of it. But where does one start on that? Like I hear you, because I think as we record this, we're going into a new year in a couple of months, and I think this is a good time, like the last quarter, to set goals in the area of business, spiritual, personal, fitness, relationship goals, right? And how's your, like, in coaching, how to start that process for me of when you know of getting into that type of conversation?
No, it's a great question, because people always want that shortcut, that silver bullet, that magic bullet. It doesn't exist, right? And we're looking for long-term results, not like your weight loss programs that last 3 weeks and then you gain the weight again. So when you work with me, what I really do is in 3 to 6 months, you're going to be a totally different person. Wow. You're going to be at levels that you didn't even think you could be at. But more importantly, even, is you're going to be in control of your own health, of your own destiny. So you don't need me or anybody else anymore, because you acquire the knowledge and you know exactly what to do yourself. You don't have to go to a doctor because you know exactly what's going on and what you need to do. So that's kind of the ultimate goal. And then you can share that with other people. But the process would be more something like this. I categorize my people in the first place, right? Because not everybody's at the same level. So from a health point of view, I have 3 categories. Number one, those people that need to regain control of their health. They're below normal. In other words, they're overweight, or they are in pain, or they are diagnosed with some kind of a medical condition. So they're operating below level, right? And so we need to regain control. We got to eradicate that medical condition, which, by the way, I'm confident I can do. And we got to get back to normal. Step number 1. Step number 2 is, once we're back to normal, who wants to be normal or average? Nobody, I hope. But now we got to go to optimal health. So we got to implement lifestyle modifications. You mentioned diet, exercise, of course, there's some of them, so that you can feel strong and vital and vibrant again, right? So you don't come home and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. I sleep bad. It's this vicious cycle of brain fog and fatigue and stuff like that. We got to get out of that rut, and we got to be, in optimal health. And people are like, oh, that person's in shape. But that's only step number 2. Step number 3. So once you are in optimal health, that's when you can maximize the benefits of biohacking, reversing your biological age, and become superhuman, because that's really what is possible and what is. But to walk you a little bit through the steps, I have 2 programs. The Biohacking Code is a one-on-one mentorship, and it's very limited. I only can do so many people. But I also have a virtual online program, 6-week program, only 2 calls per week, where I walk you through 7 steps. Basically, it's called the Limitless Lab, right? Because we want to become limitless. And basically, the steps are, the first 2 steps is a foundation. We need to make sure that we are working in the right direction, right? That we're not rowing opposite of our goals and our dreams. So step number 1 is I really take the time with my clients to go over their purpose in life, to identify it or to confirm it, right? Because most of us, work a job, and maybe we're successful and we have responsibilities and we're doing okay, but necessarily there's no passion or fire in our stomach while we're doing it. We're just going with the motions. And so many times it doesn't align with a purpose. Think about it. If you wanted the best at something and you're not passionate about it, you think you're going to win? No, you're just not. You're just going to fall short if you don't have that fire and passion, because everything becomes an obstacle versus an opportunity if you don't have that passion and fire. So many times, just with a few a few talks with my client, or I do some exercises specifically to identify that purpose. And if it doesn't align, which often it doesn't, that doesn't mean we have to drop our responsibilities and stop working and ignore our bills and our mortgage and our family. What it means is that we have to carve out 1 hour per day, which, by the way, is very easy, to start working on it. Because that 1 hour a day might give you more fulfillment than the 8 hours you were at work, right? But slowly, every day, if we work an hour, and it's amazing how exponentially those incremental steps get you to a different level pretty quickly. And then maybe in the future, eventually, you can transition from what you're doing now to, you know, what you are really passionate about. So we want to talk about purpose, and we want to make sure that passion and fire is there, you know, otherwise you're not going to be the big
You
winner.
can't do it if you don't have. I told people I do coaching with our clients and some of teammates in the financial industry, and it's like, listen, if you can't figure out something that's like burning in your gut, that like pulls you out of bed, that, you know, like, I don't want people to be able to tell me what to do. I want freedom. We call it getting to a position, Dr. Mike, of FU, right? So getting to the FU position drives me. And I think you got to start with something that is like, boom, burning in your gut. I think if you don't have that, you can't win.
No, you can't.
And in anything, and then that drives you to the optimization that you have to get there. But you got to have a goal worth fighting for.
Yeah, and the purpose is just part of the foundation. And you mentioned getting up in the morning. It's one of the questions that I ask people. I said, tomorrow morning, unless it's weekend, but let's say Monday morning, when you wake up in bed, before you jump out of bed, ask yourself, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, I have to get up, I have to get to work, I have to do this, I have to do that? Or are you thinking, damn, I can get to work, I want to get up, I got to get this done, I got to get that done? And unfortunately, most people fall in the first category, meaning you're probably not living your purpose, right? So that's 100% on. The second step is, once we have a purpose, we need a plan. Most people work hard, but they're pulled in many different directions. They're engaged in projects that don't serve their own goals and dreams, and they're wasting so much time because they don't have direction. And many people, they don't pursue their goals or dreams because their dreams are so big, and they should be big. But when they're big, they're scary. And when they're scary, people are overwhelmed and they think, oh, he can do it, but I can't, right? So that's the purpose of a plan. If you want to win gold, because athletics is a good analogy, everybody understands competing in sports. So if you want to win gold in Paris, you got 4 years. And maybe gold in Paris is like, oh my God, I'm so far away, I probably can't do it. But let's break it down per year, per month, every week. And so what do I have to do tomorrow that is attainable, that gives me fulfillment, that brings me one step closer to that gold medal in Paris, right? And so that plan is necessary. And part of the plan is what I call a team of experts. What that means is, you know, of course, if you're a 100-dash runner going for gold in Olympics, you probably have a track and field coach, you have a strength coach, you have a nutritionist, you have a mental coach, you have social support, you have your family, you have a massage therapist. So that's your team. Without the team, nobody can get to their highest potential by themselves. So no matter what it is that you do, whether you're a performer, an entrepreneur, you're in the finance world, you want to get to that next level, whatever it is, you need to recognize your strengths. And I believe only keep working on your strengths. Don't start working on your weaknesses.
Right. So because you're going to have just a bunch of strong weaknesses. If you just work on
your weaknesses and surround yourself with the people that are strong where you're weak. So I could use a Curtis because my weak point is finances and keeping up with the finances and making sure I don't spend all my money because I need a reserve for next month, etc.
Right.
So I recognize that, so I need a Curtis, right? So we need to talk about the plan and break it down. We need to have that team of experts. So that's your foundation, purpose and plan. Now the fun stuff comes. Once we got that sorted out, because when we have clarity, and control, the stress goes down. There's no worry, there's no uncertainty, and all these obstacles, we're going to attack them because we know it brings us closer to our goals and dreams, versus throwing our arms up in the air and say, oh my God, now this, now that, why me?
Right.
So it changes your whole mindset and perspective. So step number 3 and 4 is actually what I call, and that's what I teach, self-optimization, right? It's upgrading that body, mind, and life. And so step number 3 is what I call present moment. So we need to learn to be in the zone on demand. We need to learn how to be in flow state, because everybody in business heard the following statistic, that in 20% of the time we produce 80% of what we need to produce, right? So what if you could learn the skill of turning that on and off, in the zone, out of the zone? You're going to be much more productive, no distractions. And so being in the zone is not just for athletes or musicians. Everybody can learn this skill. So we're going to teach people how to do that, just like a Michael Jordan and a Kobe Bryant, right? Always in the zone, always at maximum performance. Number 4 is biohacking. It's the power of upgrading the body and the mind. I don't have to tell, no matter what you do, whether you're an author, whether you're an artist, whether you make art, whether you're an entrepreneur, a financial guy, in the corporate, not in corporate, a business owner, it does not matter. If you are in better health and you have a clear mind, you're simply going to perform much better, right? No matter what you do. So this is about upgrading that body and mind. So here we're really going to go teach people, I'm going to teach them the 7 foundations. I don't know if you want to go into it, Curtis, but again, we need a foundation of health. And with those 7 foundations, I'm going to create with my customers a very custom, what I call power routine. It's maybe a 5, 10, maximum 15-minute routine that you do every day that includes all those elements of the 7 foundations that you can count on each and every day. That's going to get you to that ultimate health, biohacking health, reversing your biological age, sharp mind, always focused, and always delivering and producing. And so that's kind of the goal, is create everybody's own power routine that they can count on and continue to go to the next level when it comes to their health, when it comes to their physical and mental performance. So that's biohacking, and we can get into those foundations.
I want to go, let me go back first, because one of the things I love, I'm very process oriented, right? And so I want y'all to hear this: purpose, plan, self-optimization, biohacking, right? And so so this is not the fad diet of the week. It's, you know what I mean? Because what happens is, if you have a process, or a system, right? So do you have a system to optimize your life, optimize your health? Do you have a system to grow your marketing? I mean, and the other thing you said that was interesting, the plan part. Like I was listening to some podcast, and it was talking about how LeBron has a team and invests $1 million at least a year into his body with his team and nutritionists. And the guy was interviewing some football player. He says, well, I'm not like LeBron, but I probably do about 300,000. He looks at as an investment.
It is an investment. Imagine they can go one more season. What's the
ROI on that? Yeah, this investment of 300 grand got me a $10 million contract.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And so, then it's like, okay, let's back up now. If you start seeing yourself like that, if you're your number one asset, then what are you doing to grow your asset? And because most people are that, like, one of the things I teach, Dr. Mike, is in finance, most people have what I call a ceiling of complexity, right? And so they're so financially illiterate. So what happens is, when they deal with problems, they're hitting that ceiling and they're stressed out. So stress causes all these other bad health, right? Things that are a result of that. And I say, look, if you can, what I try to do is increase that ceiling. So as your knowledge goes up, your anxiety comes down, because now you have more capability to deal with stuff.
Options, resources, all of it.
Yeah. And it doesn't stress you out, because, well, I can do this, or this, rather than you only know 1 or 2 ways. So you're stressed out. And so you've got to have a team. You've got to have outside influences. And I look at finances as I try to be the macro manager of people's stuff, and then build a team. But you just, hey, do I have a optimized Curtis team? I don't. So now I'm like, okay, that just boom, light bulbs went off all over.
That's what I do.
Yes. So we will get a call after this. We'll talk about that. So let's talk about the because I like principles, right? And I teach principles-based planning. So the foundations, all successful people operate with principles, right? With foundation, and that's how they get the results they want. Because if you didn't have principles, you'd become, every day would be like a new thing, because you don't know anything. And so now you can work at that. So yes, I wanted to set that up, because you got my brain exploding here. So and but because I'm hoping y'all, this is, guys, you need to listen to this episode more than once. All right. And then take action on wherever he tells you to go. So let's talk about the 7 foundations, please.
Yeah. And Curtis, those 7 foundations, people are going to go like, oh, I know that. Yes, you know it, but you're not implementing it, right?
To know and not to do is not to know. That's
right.
But
once we have the foundations, then we can do true biohacking, which is supplements, compounds, and technologies that I use that my body will respond to because I have the 7 foundations in place, right? So we can talk about both. But the first one is very easy, water. We are a plumbing system. We have a circulatory system. We have a lymphatic system, which is part of the immune system. And so you got to look at us as a plumbing system. And so we need to hydrate. We need to flush that plumbing system because stagnation equals disease. Things need to move. And that's why we need to drink plenty of water. Most of us do not still. We all know we should drink more water, but we're not doing it, number one. Number two, I would say only water. Because anything else, first of all, doesn't count as water. But usually, when you're a coffee drinker, when you are a soda drinker, when you drink your energy drink or your Red Bull or your Monster, they dehydrate you. So now you need to significantly or exponentially compensate for that with water, and so we can't do that. So it doesn't. I'm not saying I'm not a drastic guy that says never drink coffee, never do this. No, but let's. And that's why we individualize. Let's see what you're drinking and let's get that water in so we're hydrated. We are made of 80-90% of water. We are a plumbing system. We need to hydrate to function properly. And this is hydrogen water. We can talk about that later. But first, water, drink enough water. It also needs to be clean water, right? In the United States, we put too many toxins in our drinking water, including the fluoride. So we need to, based on where you live, you need to have a filter that cleans your water accordingly. That would be nice. Clean, plenty water. Number one. Number two, air. We all breathe in oxygen, 21% in the air, right? But the problem is that 99% of us do not know how to breathe properly.
Wow.
We breathe through the mouth. The mouth is not designed to breathe. It's designed to talk and eat. The middle of our face, we have something it's called the nose. The nose is designed to breathe. The reason we know that is because when we breathe in through the nose, nitric oxide is sitting right here. So when we breathe in through the nose, we capture that nitric oxide, which dilates and gets that oxygen deeper into our lungs, deeper into our cells. So a normal breath, people will be surprised, a normal breath is 5 counts in through the nose and 6 counts out through the nose. That's a normal breath. What a surprise, right?
Wow.
Now, if we look at that, then we only would take an average of 5.5 breaths per second. Right now, most people are breathing 16 to 20 times per minute. I mean, per minute, 5.5 breaths per minute. Now, 16 to 20, 22 breaths per minute. So it would increase efficiency by 300%. What does that mean? It means this, yes, we need oxygen to live, but we also all heard about oxidative stress. Oxygen rusts. Oxygen makes us age. It's oxidative stress. So if we can learn to breathe properly, which doesn't cost you anything, you can go on YouTube. You can download the best breath app in the world called, it used to be called the Breath Source. Now it's called The Source because all the breath masters are on that one platform. But you can learn to breathe at no cost. And when you become a master of that breath, it may be your number one biohack, increasing by 300%. So we need to utilize that oxygen, increase our CO2 tolerance. We can talk about that alone for an hour, but let's move on. So we got water, we got learning to breathe properly. So that's number two. Number three, I would say movement. We talked about us being a plumbing system. So again, stagnation is disease. So movement. I don't use the word exercise because exercising at a high level is not necessarily the best for your health. It's much more prudent for your health if you move throughout the day. So if you're a guy that goes to the gym an hour and a half every day, Monday to Friday, that's not bad. But then if you sit behind the desk selling insurance for 8-9 hours, from a health point of view, that's not the way to go either. So we need to find ways to walk, to dance, and to constantly move. And if you're limited, that's when technology comes in, right? We can sit on a vibration platform. We have mini trampolines. We got all kind of stuff that we can do if we can't do the things naturally. But movement becomes key. The opposite of movement, number 4, rest. We need to be able, we need to have the skill to get in a deep delta sleep. During sleep, as everybody knows, that's where we repair, replenish, renew, and regenerate. I always I always use the analogy of a supermarket. If the people that restock the shelves go on strike for 1-2 nights, there is no supermarket. There is nothing to buy. And so that's our supermarket right here. Things need to be replenished, repaired, etc. Only works in a deep delta sleep. And over 90% of us do not wake up refreshed, ready to go. We wake up and we go, I wish I could stay in bed longer. I feel tired. That's an indicator, a simple indicator you're not getting in a deep delta sleep. So we teach you how to do that. And it's a little bit different for everybody. To give you a few examples of my evening power routine. First of all, this is general. You don't want to consume any snacks or eat 4 or 5 hours before you go to sleep. Because if your digestive system is still working while you try to go to sleep, you're not going to get in a deep delta sleep. Your body is still working. So let's, get that in place. Number 2, most of us, our mind keeps going when we go to bed, right? Our mind's all over the place and we're thinking, tomorrow I got to bring the kids there. And then at the meeting, what am I going to say? I'm probably going to be late for this. How am I going to do this? And our mind keeps going. So what I do as part of that evening routine, I do 60 seconds of visualization. So I walk through the next 24 hours, and at each point of contact, I make a good or the right decision. So I go over it for 60 seconds before I go to sleep. Now I don't have to worry about anything. It's all taken care of. Right? Mm-hmm. So those are just 2 examples, but it will be different for everybody. But bottom line is, we need to get you in a deep delta sleep. It's underrated. Sleep is very, very important. So that's number 4. Number 5, sunlight. Believe it or not, we sit most of the time indoor. We need to get sunlight outdoors. So we need to spend more time outside. During lunch, go outside. In the evening, if it doesn't rain, eat outside. Go for a walk, and we can start stacking these biohacks, right? So I go for a walk on my bare feet. Luckily, I'm close to the beach, but you can do it. You can do it in your yard. You can do it anywhere. So bare feet because of grounding, which is another story. It's basically discharging your excess energy in your body, right? Your free radicals. But that's another topic. But we can stack it. We can be moving around, right? Walking. Right. We can do our breath work, right? And we have sunlight. So why sunlight is so important? Think about all the animals that are in the around the equator in the Amazon. The tigers, the gorillas, the giraffes. I mean, they are vibrant, they are colorful, they are strong, they are lean. Compare that to an animal that doesn't see sunlight. A mole is even blind, right? So who do you want to be, right? It's proven over and over again that sunlight stimulates all biological, nutritional, and physiological processes in our body. We need to be exposed to more sunlight. Now, if you live in Iceland or Norway in the winter and there is no sunlight, that's when technologies come in. Whole body photobiomodulation devices, near infrared, all those light therapies, they can come in, but we have it for free if we just spend time outside, right?
I love that.
So that's sunlight. We only got 2 left, Curtis. Diet. You mentioned diet. We can talk about diet a whole day, but let me give your viewers kind of a concept that I 100% believe in, and that may create a aha moment. So I believe that there's only one cause of all disease. It's called toxemia. Toxemia literally means toxins in the blood. But in a little bit more detail, what it means is that as part of daily living, as part of our metabolism, we obviously produce waste. But in a normal, healthy organism, that waste is what? Is excreted, eliminated from our body to the bowels, the kidneys, the skin, etc. So no harm is done. However, in today's society, we take in and we are exposed to far more toxins than the body possibly can eliminate. So now we have an accumulation of toxins in the body, and that's what we call toxemia. Now, there's 2 things these toxins do. Number 1, they steal an electron from a healthy atom, which then becomes unstable, which we all know as free radicals. And I'm not going to go into details. Most people heard about free radicals causing havoc even on a cellular and DNA level. But number 2, even easier to understand, we are now in a state of emergency because we can't keep up with elimination, right? And in conventional medicine, this state of emergency is called systemic inflammation. And even according to conventional medicine, over 90% of all disease is directly correlated to the systemic inflammation, okay? So now what do we need to do in order to keep healthy? We need to keep toxemia in check, right? So how do we do that? First of all, we need to mitigate and reduce the exposure and intake of toxins. From where? Man-made foods, man-made drinks, over-the-counter prescription medications, household products, cleaning products, cosmetic products that we put on our skin, and electromagnetic frequencies and radiation from our phones, our Wi-Fi. Yes, it's invisible, but it's real. So we need to do whatever we can to mitigate and lower that exposure and intake while simultaneously increasing the nutrients that do what? Fight free radical damage, fight systemic inflammation, and repair our DNA. And if we can just keep that balance, we will be bulletproof against any diseases, chronic diseases, viruses, pathogens of the 21st century. So we don't need to be health freaks, but we need to be keeping that balance, keeping that balance. And that's what I help my clients do.
Dude, that's, I mean, the last one is, basically everything. So, the phone, I was watching this thing, your earbuds are like too much radiation, it's killing you. So I lost mine at the event. I'm like, well, maybe I don't need those. I need to get.
Well, there are ones that won't get radiation, right? Okay. So you always have those. But so the key is be aware, and it's not just improving your diet, but eliminating and trying to mitigate, what we are exposed to and what we take in, and simultaneously increasing the nutrients that would fight it and just tipping that balance, because we can't escape it, right? Unless we go live in the Amazon ourselves and get away from society and all its conveniences, we can't, but we can mitigate it and reduce it as much as possible. So we just tip that balance and then we'll be just fine.
Awareness is the first step, and that's that. So just those 7 things that we talked about, and most of them are free. Learning how to breathe, I have to figure that out, of just looking that up. But I think that if you combine all of this and even taking it, I always tell people, if you want to have a good year, you got to have 4 good quarters, right? You want to have a good quarter, you got to have 3 good months. You have a good month, you got to have 4 good weeks. And if you have a good week, you got to have a good day, and you got to win the day, right? And one of my favorite books, my operating system, is a 12-week year. So I try to break. So like when people say do this next year, my mind is the quarter, right? How can I compress time frames? And I think that, like, so when you take a process like you gave, okay, I need to drink more water. I only drink 1 or 2 cups. You hit me with the coffee thing, but I
drink more people with the coffee thing.
Right.
Again, we don't have to become health freaks. We gotta tip that balance somehow, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is what I do is with those 7, and we didn't talk about 7. It's upgrading the mind. But what we do with those 7, we take what works for you in each one of those 7, and we mold them into a short 10-15 minute power routine that you're going to do each and every day. And that's kind of the purpose of the foundation. Now we have the foundation you're implementing on a daily basis. And once you are at that optimal health, now we can go biohacking. I just wrote a book like you saw on molecular hydrogen. I just finished a book on PEMF, because most of those things are quackery and they don't work. So now it's about, okay, now we are at optimal health. What's the next step? The next step is reversing our biological age. So now we got to take it another step, and that's where technologies come in, right? To really become superhuman. But that's biohacking, and that's what I teach people to do. And so now we have the foundation, Curtis. We got purpose and plan, and then we got self-optimization, being present in the moment or in the zone, and then upgrading the body and the mind. So that's only 4. Number 5 is we take all this and we create that power routine. That's number 5. Okay. Number 6 is we're going to keep doing it to the next level. That's number 6, next level, which will come very fast after you have your power routine. And number 7 is scale, because we don't want to just go to the next level. Now we're going to do the next. This is limitless. That's why I call it the limitless lab.
I love that. That you don't know how that speaks to me. As a process guy, as an ex-jock, because I'll see like ball players that are like, they all beat down, basketball players especially. And I see a lot of athletes on your page. While you go to his website, all the famous people he work with, and they get I heard like, for example, just on the nutrition thing, you know, when you sweat, you're not sweating out water, you're sweating out nutrients. And if you don't have, and see, most doctors don't, medical doctors don't study nutrition.
No.
And I had a guy on my show. He said, look, most illness, you talked about toxicity. I think it's the same concept. He says most illnesses as root cause malnutrition, you know, because
Micronutrient deficiencies.
yeah, because we don't get, you can't eat natural and eat a balanced diet because there's no nutrients in the soil, therefore you
That's
can't
correct.
get it. So if you
That's
don't,
why high quality supplements today, I got about 30 of them. High quality supplements today are your insurance policy.
yeah.
It's that what it is. But you got to know what you need. You got to do lab work. Where are your deficiencies? You know, these supplements are not the same for everybody. And they also change based on what stage you are. Am I regaining control of my health? Am I optimizing my health? Am I biohacking? So, you know, so the supplements change as you improve also.
Right. So let's say, so I do insurance, right? So when I do insurance, a big thing I see is diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Now, is that like, so when somebody's going through, and you know, you don't want to be on, because the medical community just wants to milk that. They'll salivate. Oh, you're diabetic. Okay, we need this, and this. And they're going to milk you for the rest of your life.
Sure.
And because it's not trying to cure anything. I want to be cured. I don't, you know, if I'm this person, I want to be cured. I don't want to be on maintenance stuff for the rest of my life.
I'm smiling because it's so easy to get rid of a medical condition. First of all, you know, in conventional medicine, we're always diagnosing. We got MRIs and this and this. And after 2 years, oh, we got it. You got MS. And then it's like, okay, so what are we going to do about it? Oh, we don't have a treatment or a solution for MS. So it's kind of useless. Same with diabetes. Oh, you get diabetes. What? No, I'll put you on a special diet. But is the special diet going to take care of it? No, it's just you're going to have diabetes and you got to keep taking these medications, right? No, the body has 37 trillion cells. Number one, each cell has 100 to 100,000 mitochondria. Those are your energy factories, right? For example, a skin cell only has 100 energy factories because it doesn't need to do much, versus a heart cell has 100,000 mitochondria. And each mitochondria produces millions of ATPs per second. So there's quadrillions of energy molecules, quadrillions produced every second, right? So to think that we as humans are smart enough to intervene and get a positive outcome is laughable. What we need to do is we need to stand back and understand that only the body can heal itself. No drugs, no Dr. Mike's protocol, no food, no supplements, no therapies, no acupuncture, no care. It doesn't heal anything. Only the body can heal itself. What we need to realize is we need to put the body in the right conditions, in the correct conditions, and give it the right tools so it can do its job. And that's why the foundations are so important. We need to get back to balance in the body. And so I do have cancer patients. I have Parkinson's. I have lupus. I have 2 rheumatoid arthritis patients right now. And it's not about managing. It's about eradicating it by just getting to balance in the body. And then the body will take care of it. It's actually easier than it sounds.
Wow. Lord, I mean, because medicine doesn't really, they can't cure heartburn, right? And
they could, but they are managing symptoms, right?
There's no profit in the cure.
Yeah, no, somebody's teenager. Oh, I got acid reflux. Oh, he's the purple pill Nexium. But nobody's asking, why do you have acid reflux? So now you're taking this pill for a few years. Oh, first stomach ulcer. Oh, let's cut it out. Instead of asking, why is there a stomach ulcer? What's causing it? Nobody wonders, cut it out. And then 10 years later, cancer. Too late now, right? But all along we had warning signs. And all we had to do is teach that person about food combining, right? So what is acid reflux and heartburn? Your body's saying, get it out of here. I can't handle it. It's trying to expel it from you. And I can go into why that is, but it's like everything is simple, but simple doesn't make money.
Right. So we could do this like once a quarter and get you on to talk about this stuff. But I think this stuff is absolutely, I'm so fired. My head is exploding right now, but I want to be respectful of your time. Look at the clock. But tell them Because I think we went through the only thing we didn't go through is upgrading your mind. Maybe a second on that, and then I want you to tell them how to, if they follow along with you, get the book, and check out the labs, or if they feel they're ready for one-on-one coaching. I want to be able to really affect your life going into the next year.
Yeah, number 7, I say, is the mind, but it's the one I start with first. It's the most important one because your mind is the control center of your body. It controls your health and disease. It also is the blueprint to your future. So if you want to be successful, your mind's got to be in the right place, because most of us, as we briefly talked about, are held back by our past because something happened and we labeled it as a failure. We need to start seeing it as a lesson and do it again and again and again, just like Edison 100, 1,000 times before the light bulb worked, right? So it's a mindset. And so, I believe that our soul basically choose a body with a very specific goal and reason in this life. And our mind is there to try to make sense of it. But usually that gets in the way. It's our ego that gets in the way. People need to understand that when we pay attention to something like listening to this podcast, watching TV, reading a book, that information is stored in our conscious mind, right? But all the other information, which is the vast majority, is stored in the subconscious mind, right? Which operates below the conscious mind. And so it's in the subconscious mind where all our potential lies, where all the resources are, right? And so we need to also learn to tap into all the faculties of the subconscious mind, and that requires to put our ego aside. And so I teach some of those things. And again, some people, breath work will be the way to get into a meditative state. Other people, it's meditation. Other people, it's gratitude journaling. So the elements to get there will be different, but we need to be able to be pulled forward by the future, by our plan, by our goals and our dreams. Because if there's any doubt in our mind that we are going to succeed, then the universe has 2 options, failure or success. If there's no doubt in your mind that you're going to overcome that cancer, or that you're going to get that gold medal at the Olympics, or that you're going to be the CEO of your company next year, if there's no doubt, then the universe only has 1 option. And that's a big win.
That's
so it's a mindset that we need to get in place, which steers everything else and all the other steps.
But the great thing is, it's like there's a process. Boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
And that you can follow, that you can be coached on, that once you've installed it, it is a way of life.
Yeah.
And as opposed to a fad diet you're going to get tired of, bored of,
This is a very meticulous, proven system.
Yeah.
Yes, that you can learn in 6 weeks and then just continue to implement on a daily basis.
Okay, which is the Limitless Lab. I'm looking on
the Limitless Lab. The biohacking code is similar, but it's one-on-one. We only have 10 spots per month. The Limitless Lab we do at regular times, and it's a limited group, 10, 12 people on 2 calls per week for 6 weeks, where we go through all these steps. The first call is always diving deep into it theoretically. The second call per week is just questions, answers, customization. How is Curtis going to integrate the information that we learned on the first call? Curtis has a specific set of, a different job, a different relationship environment, etc. So how is that going to work for Curtis versus John, right? And so that's the second call, is customizing what we learned in the first call. And that's how we go for 6 weeks. And then you're empowered to do it yourself, to keep going.
I love that because you're the captain of your ship. So many people are looking for somebody else to solve their problem. That's the main reason for my show. I do it financially, but stop looking for other people to solve your problem. You've got to I was listening to a Jim Rohn video. The problem is you have the capability of, whether it's health, whether it's money. Jim Rohn would say most people don't have a money problem, they have a philosophy problem. That's right. Yeah. And I would say the same thing for overall. Like what you're talking about is so much more important than the money. And everybody wants to go show me the money.
Well, if the mindset is right and you upgrade constantly, the money comes and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Just like you're working out. The more you get in it, the more you like, it's like get in shape, then you can start training without getting hurt, and then you just keep compounding on that. And I can see, so I see the correlation of that mentally with all this stuff, that all of a sudden you can keep taking your mind. I need to be at I'm 61, my youngest is 13, so I need to be here another good 40 years in good health.
I
right?
said 100 is easy, Curtis, and you can do things that a 40-year-old does at 100.
Well, there you go.
So every year that you're adding chronologically, you need to do the things to biologically take off a year, so you stay where you are right now for the next 40 years.
All right,
that's
we're
your goal.
Gonna be in touch, because I need to do that, right? And that's because it's really, now I'm going to the year. It's like, okay, here is, I don't have any plan for this at right now. As I look at my goals and this, okay, this is, here we go, because
you're the golden goose. You're producing the eggs, but you can't die. There's no more eggs,
and you are the goose, right? And so that's what I mean. You're, if you're not here, none of this stuff works out. And so you got to fix that. And then I think we just giving you a blueprint to fix that. Dr. Mike, man, I'm so glad we talked in Scottsdale.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I'm gonna have you back. This is, you're speaking my love language now. Good health, looking good, I'm vain, all that stuff. Right. So
that's right. Why not?
Yeah. And all right. So tell them how to find you. And we'll put those in the show notes. Where's you want? How can they listen to you, follow what you got going on?
No, it's very easy. I'm not a big social media guy because that would give me a dopamine overload, right? But everything is on the website that you've been looking at, biohackingunlimited.com or mvtonline.com. Same website. My books are there. Speaking page is there if you need a speaker for your event. My programs are there. You set a biohacking code. It's a one-on-one mentorship, the Limitless Lab, which is a little bit cheaper because it's a limited group session. Everything you can think of is there. Even you can book a 20-minute call with me for free to see, to learn who you are and if I can help you, and ask some questions and get acquainted. So you can schedule that for free anytime also.
Awesome. All right, y'all, make sure y'all do that. I think that's a good first step. And then you can see what works best for you. Oh, this has been awesome. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for coming on the Practical Wealth Show. And so we're here to help you mind, body, spirit, and financially. And so we gave you that, because if you don't have your health, you don't have nothing. Because Steve Jobs would trade all his money for one more day, one more year or whatever. And so you don't want to get to that point, and you stop treating symptoms and let's, not saying cure, but let's treat the body and the mind. And I think everything else will flow from that. If I gather everything else you're saying, that's what I hear.
Let's upgrade.
Let's upgrade. All right, guys, have a great day. Dr. Mike, thank you. And guys, go out there and drink some water and breathe. All right. Talk and move. All right. Those are 3 things you can do right now after listening to this show. Talk to you soon, guys. Thanks, Dr. Mike.
Thank you.